Okay, you might have to cut this.
Bam, bam.
Hey guys, welcome everyone to the Hollywood Persona podcast. Sorry, I just turned it off because I am outside today. If you're watching the video, you can see me in sunny, beautiful Port Stanley, Ontario. And I'm here with Ant. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, Bitch Merns. I'm doing great, man. I can't wait to talk to you about these movies. I've seen a lot since we last recorded, but not necessarily notable. But I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Blink Twice. And we saw the other goofy PG-13 movie, Afraid, that's in theaters now.
Blumhouse's latest.
Blumhouse. I didn't know it was Blumhouse. They've had a bad year. Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure it was Blumhouse. Somebody said it on a podcast the other day, and I just feel like they've had a really bad year. So maybe it was.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
Okay. I'll let you look that up because I don't have the best internet. But because I am outside, I'm at my parents' place. So I don't have my usual mic. I don't have my usual camera, but I got my laptop, and we're going to do this anyway. So if there's any sound snafus or issues, I apologize, but it should be pretty clear. No laundry machines going in the background.
Yeah, it is Blumhouse. So yeah, Imaginary, and then the pool movie.
Yeah, just awful. At least two of those will be in my bottom two.
Yeah, definitely. Those will be considered for worst of this year.
And I think you will be surprised which one is not going to be in my bottom two.
Okay. But I also saw Slingshot, good one, The Wasp, 1992, and Reagan. I'll mention a little about Reagan, and then I'm going to tell you about The Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, normally at this point we would go over box office. This weekend was a 4-day weekend because the United States was in had Labor Day. So
labor.
Yeah, the U.S. was in labor. So comparing number, like I usually don't like to. It just doesn't make sense. Usually we talk about 3-day weekends. So these numbers that I would tell you are 4 days. So that's really doesn't compare to other weekends. I can just say that movie Slingshot with Lawrence Fishburne and Casey Affleck came in at 20th place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was only in 845 theaters, so it wasn't super wide, but and that was Bleecker Street. Usually they have some good ones. So that debuted bad. 1992 debuted pretty poorly at 14th. Afraid debuted at number 9. So nothing really, Deadpool still at the top, Inside Out still at the top. So yeah, so not much more to talk about box office. Next weekend will be interesting, or this coming weekend, because Beetlejuice is, I've heard rumors that they're expecting 100 million opening, if not more. Yeah.
See, that's why we should at least figure out who wants to take Beetlejuice in our next box office thing, because it's coming out soon. But maybe we can just say no one gets it. I don't know.
I mean, could we get it ready? Could we do that tomorrow? Like, because you're talking about the box office game that we compete in. Like if we owned our own studio, which movies would we pick? So that would be September, October, November, December.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do. I guess I could do it by tomorrow. What's your tomorrow like?
I could do it by tomorrow, and send you my list.
All right, maybe we'll try that, and between me and you, we'll lock our picks in, and then even if we don't record and post till after Beetlejuice comes out,
yeah, we'll have our picks and we can post.
Yeah.
It. Okay. So what did you want to talk? Yeah, no, actually, the one thing I want to say about Beetlejuice is apparently it had a standing ovation, 4-minute standing ovation at Cannes. Is that what's on right now? Cannes? The Cannes Film Festival?
Yes. September is May is Cannes. So it could be the Toronto. TIFF is around now.
Yeah, okay.
TIFF is September. But wow, I mean, that's the reviews have been good. I want to say I've heard them be about 78%. Is that?
Yeah.
I guess I'll pull it up.
I heard the other
working
day,
it.
Right.
What'd you hear?
I heard the other day it's about around that, so I just haven't looked in the last couple of days.
And I've seen reviews get posted. I haven't read any. I still haven't seen the trailer in full. I'm going in pretty blind.
Okay.
And I rewatched the original the other night just to just to get in back in the swing. And to listeners, if you haven't seen the original, it's only 90 minutes, so it's pretty short. And I would say it holds up. I laughed a handful of times.
Yeah. It's I watched it with my kids, and I didn't realize how much inappropriate stuff there is in it.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's a pretty big perv in it.
Yeah, and he says the F word at one point, which I was like, I don't remember that when I was a little kid, because I watched it a lot when I was young.
Right. It was a staple. It was on TV and the movie channels all the time. So yeah, it's at 78% with already 160 reviews. So that's pretty good. That's good.
That's good.
So I'll be working that Friday with CinemaScore, and friend of the show, Florence, is in Atlanta, just happens to be in Atlanta for work. So her and I are going to meet up. She's going to come while I'm working to see me poll the audience, and then her and I might go see a movie. I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, love Florence. She
definitely
she emailed and said, "Aunt lives in Atlanta, right? Like, can we? I want to meet him if I go down there." I'm like, "Oh, you're so sweet." So she's a good friend, and I'm happy you guys are.
And so for anyone others that don't know, she has been a recurring guest on the Film Vault podcast, which is the movie podcast that Mitch and I met through or from.
Yes.
So yeah, she comes there a lot. She loves horror movies. She also does her own podcast, which I should know the name of.
Legally
Brunette.
God. Legally Bonafide podcast. The Legally Bonafide podcast. Yes.
Yeah, so give that a listen if you're interested. I think she does family law, if I remember right.
She does. Yep, she's a lawyer, but she talks about everything, her life on that podcast, and movies. She usually ends talking about the most recent horror movie and stuff. So, and she does her soup and horror movies.
That's
Did you
right.
know that?
That's right. Yeah. I've listened.
She actually went and saw Afraid, and she posted a review on the Film Vault I just listened to the other day, and she said not even a good soup could make that movie good.
We'll get to that. We'll get to it. And then we are going to try and have her come on. So her and I were talking about going to see, what's the horror movie that comes out this weekend? The Front Door, the A24. Isn't that A24?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, A24, yeah.
Yeah, so her and I are going to go see that. We're planning to see that, and then she'll come on and we'll review it, all three of us together. I think that'd be awesome.
And Beetlejuice we can talk about too.
Yep.
Yeah. That Front Door movie kind of came out of nowhere, eh?
Yeah, so Front Door, it looks like a bad Blumhouse movie if you didn't know it was A24.
Yeah.
To me. It's like the plot is something like mother-in-law moves in, she's old and crotchety and mean, and then some evil stuff starts happening, right? I haven't really seen the trailer.
Yeah, the mom starts. It's Brandy.
Brandy,
is
right?
Playing the lead, and she just kind of basically, the mom moves in, and she has all this money, and she's gonna pay for their house, like once she dies, kind of thing.
So they have to be nice to her.
Yeah, and she's like maybe a little racist, and then she starts blaming the daughter for things she hasn't done. It does look a little. It looks like a good cheesy Blumhouse movie, like Blumhouse.
But with A24's might behind it.
Yeah. And they did say they were going to start getting into this kind of stuff, so higher budget.
Oh, and also, Mitch, I believe it's directed by Sam and Max Eggers, which are brothers or relatives of Robert Eggers, the amazing director of The Witch, The Lighthouse.
Northman.
The Northman.
Right? Wasn't it Northman?
Yeah. I'm just assuming that.
Well, that's
he's
really
the younger
cool.
half brother of Robert. So you got those two things, A24 and the Eggers family. So let's go.
That is awesome. So two things before we really get started. One, summer is over. We're in September. Right. What did you think? What do you think about this summer? It was okay. I mean, I think we had a pretty good summer. I mean, Alien Romulus did better than I thought it would. Trying to think of some of the ones that came out at the beginning of Furiosa was
excellent, right?
Excellent, but a big box office disappointment.
Yeah, bad money wise. Twisters turned out to be pretty good. Bad Boys Ride or Die was decent. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes I liked.
Yes, me too.
Of course,
but it didn't do well.
We love Deadpool.
We did. So
we got Long Legs, we got Cuckoo, we got Strange Darling. So we got some good movies. I would say it was good.
Summer.
It wasn't the
Decent
best,
summer,
but it's good. Yeah, definitely.
The box office was hard to predict, as Ant will tell you right now, because he's going to tell us where we landed on the summer box office movie wager.
Yeah, so another movie podcast, the Filmcast, they've been doing this wager every summer for the last 10 years, and you try and predict what movies will come in 1 through 10th place domestic box office wise, and the closer you are, the more points you get. So that has finished now. That's concluded with us being in September. So I have beat Mitch with 47 points to his 36, which ain't that great when I compare me to the rest of the other hosts of that podcast. So that one has 5 or 6 people on it: Jermaine, Peter, Dave, BJ, Jeff Kanata, and Devindra Hardawar. Yeah, so 6 others. So I'm only above Devindra there, behind all the others. So, I guess just a couple of like insights from it is the people that put Inside Out, that guessed Inside Out 2 would be the number 1 movie of the summer. They did really well because that gets you the most point, is nailing number 1. You get 13 points. Deadpool is number 2, Despicable Me, then Twisters, then Bad Boy, then Planet of the Apes, then A Quiet Place. But then the surprise one that no one guessed, It Ends With Us. That has made $135 million domestically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it made it into the top 10. I didn't know that.
It's in the top 10. It beat
Wow.
If, and it beat The Fall Guy.
Yeah. And
so but then to say, they stop it kind of now. Labor Day stops it, but since since these movies still have time to go, Alien will probably come in. So right now, The Fall Guy in 10th place has 92.9, and that's long gone. Yeah. Alien is at 91.0. So the Alien will probably jump into the top 10. So that could change. Well, that'll just give us an extra point or two, because I think we both had it as dark horses.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the top 2 reversed. I had thinking Deadpool and Wolverine would come in first, but we didn't realize that Inside Out 2 would be quite the juggernaut that it was. So I had Deadpool and Wolverine at 1, and Inside Out 2 is second. Did you have the same, or?
I had, let me go down to mine. I had Despicable Me as number 1 and Inside Out as number 2.
Okay.
And so those should have been switched, or Despicable Me should have been dropped down 2.
Yeah.
And every other summer where there was a Pixar movie versus a Minions movie, Despicable Me, the Minions came ahead. So this was a flip of that trend.
What do you think was your biggest mistake?
Furiosa at number 5.
Yeah, Furiosa at number 5.
Furiosa not being anywhere near the top 10, which is so heartbreaking. The one I like to clown on you for is, this one.
Back to Black.
Putting the Amy Winehouse movie in there, thinking it would make the top 10.
Well, I don't know. Like, I just was thinking Bohemian Rhapsody, and there was a lot of buzz around it at
good
first.
Point.
But
that's a good point.
But then,
that's some precedent. Okay, I thought. All right, that's at least I can follow your thought process there.
I was not thinking clearly, and we all thought that Fall Guy was going to be a much bigger movie, and then it wasn't.
And I think you're number 9 for Borderlands.
I know. I just thought with the video game hype, with all the actors in it.
That could have, right, and it has a big cast.
Great cast.
Video game movie, yeah.
I thought maybe I'd sneak that in there, and then, like, it would do really well, and I just all of a sudden zoom to the top. Yeah. Like, and everybody be like, oh, wow, he's so smart. And it's like one of the fucking biggest bombs of the last 10 years.
And then for your 3 dark horses, you had Kinds of Kindness, which that came in 31. But you did have Twisters, so you got a point for having Twisters because that ended up in the top 10. And then Maxine, would have liked to seen that do better too.
Yeah, me too. I just thought, with the build-up, right, of all the other 2 movies, and then it's been so many years, I thought everyone's got a chance to see those.
One of my embarrassing ones is I had a dark horse of Horizon, an American Saga.
But most of the film cast, a lot of the film cast had Horizon on there.
It ended up in 17th place, so pretty far down.
Yeah.
And then, let me see if any other big ones. The Garfield movie is at number 11. That's not that big of a miss. I had that at 8. So really fun to do. It's all managed by this website called thesummermoviewager.com. Next year we'll do it again.
And we will remind everyone as early as we can that we're going to do it.
Put the note out there. It's totally free, and you can see your scores compared to, like, if you have a group of 4 friends that put their names in it, you just go pick the movies in order you think will do best. Yeah. And then you can bookmark your page, so it'll show all the leaders and then your friends list, and that's what we've done. So that was fun. Summer Movie Wager is closed, and now we will move on to our own if Mitch had a studio, if I had a studio, what movies would we release?
Yes, and we'll get those out. We'll post them or something tomorrow,
Yeah,
and
yeah, we can post it somewhere.
yeah. Okay. So now it is
Movie review time.
oh,
Movie review time? Was it good or was it bad? Find out now. Movie review time? Was it good or was it bad? Find out now.
Haven't used that one in a while. So.
Yeah, that's good. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, me too. So we're gonna talk about I keep saying don't blink twice.
Because it's similar to Don't Worry, Darling.
Right, and that too. It's just it's not a great title.
No, yeah. You know what it was? Oh my God.
Pussy Island.
Yeah.
I heard that the other day. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can see why they changed it.
Yeah.
But still,
I actually am glad they changed it because I feel like Pussy Island kind of either doesn't make sense or gives away some stuff, maybe.
Yeah, it's not really really accurate.
I don't know.
And I want to ask you how, what all do we want to give away with this? Do we want to say with this movie?
Well, I mean, this movie has a huge twist and it's obviously very much like what's going on. It's a whole movie of like what is going on. There's a weird vibe, what's going on, what's happening. And there's a couple
And I would
twists.
say it's kind of predictable.
Excuse me.
If you've seen the trailer, you can kind of see what's going on.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll try and, keep everything in Act 1.
And then maybe jump into a little bit of spoilers.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
And then we'll just mark where the spoilers are below so you guys can see that. So just look down if you want to skip. But right now we'll just talk about no spoilers. And what did you think?
Do you want me to set it up?
Oh, that would help, yeah.
Okay, so blink twice. It's that poster you've seen around with Channing Tatum using a Polaroid, taking a picture with a woman's face on it looking scared. So directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, of course. She's been in a ton of movies, but this is the first time she's directing. And you've got Naomi, Aki, Channing Tatum, like I said, Christian Slater, Simon Rex, who's a lot of fun here. Haley Joel Osment, also fun to see him. Gina Davis, which is cool to see her. Levon Hawke, and that about rounds. Kyle MacLachlan rounds out the cast. And the movie is the plot summary is this. So tech billionaire Channing Tatum, his name in the movie is Slater King, so he's a dick.
Yeah.
He meets a cocktail waitress who is our other main character named Frida at his fundraising gala. He invites her to join him and a whole bunch of his friends on a dream vacation on this private island that he has. And strange things starts to happen, so Frida questions her reality. So
they're drinking every night. Like they get to the island, they're drinking every night. They're taking all sorts of drugs, and and then these two girls that get sent to the island, they are nobodies, right? And Channing Tatum kind of falls in love with the one girl over a party, and says like, "Do you want to come to the island?" And she says yes. The one thing I just want to say to the listeners is that Channing Tatum, at the beginning of the movie, we find out that he kind of got canceled for some abusive
comeback
stuff.
Tour.
Yeah, so now he's like so now he's like been on shows and he said he's sorry and he has his island where no cell phones and he just connects and he's been doing really well, blah blah blah. So he's quote unquote better and he's doing therapy. So
he's gone on this apology tour.
Exactly, like all those YouTube videos, people saying sorry.
You're delayed a little, so I'm going to keep talking.
Okay.
He's gone on this whole apology tour. We don't specifically know exactly what he's done. What his Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say too. You're fine. You're fine. The lead actress here, I didn't recognize her. And I was looking at her last credits. She was in The Last Jedi as Jana. Oh. Don't recognize that character name. But then I should have recognized her because she was in I Want to Dance with Somebody as Whitney Houston from 2022, which I did see.
Oh, yeah, me
And
too.
she was great in that, if I remember right.
I don't remember much about that movie because it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was just another music biopic, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so blink twice. What I thought this movie was okay, just okay. And what I mean by okay is I thought it was really slow to start. The first 30 minutes or so, I was kind of like, all right, let's get on with it, which isn't that bad of a criticism because good movies set up characters that you care about. So we do learn a lot about her. She works as a waitress doing catering events, her and her friend. And, they both think Channing Tatum is hot because he's rich and good looking, of course. And then I also think that it's directed really well. Zoe Kravitz, I want to give credit to her here. There's plenty of nice shots. The camera holds on, like when they first get to the island, lots of symmetrical shots, and just the technical stuff. I was a little impressed by, but I did think that it was a little predictable, like and kind of from the trailer it is, which that's not again also a knock at it too much because I always say I don't mind spoilers for movies usually because it's all about the journey, right?
Yeah.
So I liked it. I think the acting was good, but to me, the other thing that pulls it down a little bit was just how familiar it feels, like a Get Out kind of, like a Don't Worry, Darling kind of. And so that that's fine. I can see why they wanted to tell the story. It is still fun. It is still worth a watch for sure. And it's good to see a big movie like this with this kind of controversial topic being covered. And some of the plot mechanics are a little silly if you think them through or pick them apart. But again, that's not that big a deal. So, so I think it was good. I'm glad I saw it. I think people should see it. But I think I remember you saying you really liked this. What did you like about this?
Yeah, I'm going to upset some people. I fucking love this movie so much. And like some of those movies, I got the Get Out vibes very quickly right away because that movie is called Get Out, like Get Out, and everything's screaming at you like Get Out. Well, this movie from the get-go is kind of screaming at you, Get Out. There is something wrong here. Yeah. And it's predictable and it's a slow burn, but this one affected me more than Get Out.
Wow.
And I almost want to say that I like it more.
That is so crazy to me. I'm glad you had that experience, but Get Out,
I was never the biggest Get Out fan.
Gotcha.
I liked it, but for some reason it just didn't hit me like it hit everyone else. I felt like kind of like a person in a crowd of people who just doesn't get it. And while I liked it and I loved the actors in it and where it went and all that, I haven't really been able to connect with Jordan Peele's stuff.
Interesting.
And I don't know what that is. So for me, this was kind of my Get Out.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're not alone. You're not alone. I've listened to a few reviews that people are like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Yeah.
This kind of just blew me away. Because there was there at one point, there's about to be another night, another party, and I'm like, oh, are we really gonna have to watch them drink and party again?
It seemed a little repetitive. Like, okay, we get it, they're partying.
But then I kind of understood why they kept doing that, and this goes really dark places. So there is a trigger warning before the movie.
How do you feel about that?
So that is why the Film Vault did top 5 movies that should have had a trigger warning before it, which is kind of a tongue-in-cheek, funny top 5. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, especially with like something like this, and I don't even know, like an abuse of power or like maybe like sexual assault or something like that. It might be good to give that warning. Like I would have loved that warning.
I'm torn on it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't include them, then are you saying some triggers are more important than others?
I know.
I heard a critic say that, and of course, I don't care. Nothing triggers me, but since this is happening, we should talk about it. So, and then also, if you say, warning, trigger, sexual assault, like okay, now I know there's going to be some kind of sexual
Right.
assault in the movie, you know?
Exactly.
So it's, yeah, I don't know about that.
I have the app Does the Dog Die on my phone.
I love that website.
Me too. And you can go to that app, download it, and it has a spot for like almost anything that might trigger someone. So if you have a certain trigger, which I do, I'm not going to get into it, but sometimes I will check that. If I see a dog, I check it. That's the one thing I don't need to be spoiled. I am fine with being spoiled. I want to know if the dog lives or dies.
Same, dude. I'm the exact same. I don't need to see any more dogs die on screen. Yeah. It's just, I'm fine.
Before I went into A Quiet Place, I had to look up and see if the cat died, even before I went into it. So,
cats, I'm cool with. Dogs, no. But I get it. Like, same thing. Same thing. But yeah, so once you,
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. But so back to the movie then. Once we get to the turn where what's going on kind of is revealed, is that what hooked you in, or were you expecting it?
I was not expecting that at all.
Okay, good.
Not that.
Yeah.
Not the way it was done. And I felt that was so creative on the writer's part and like Zoe Kravitz and like I thought that was very, very well done.
Yeah, me too. The way it's filmed is done well, because there's a million ways you can film something, right? You can just put a camera, have it sit there. Your subjects are both side by side. That's one way to film something. But we get something a little different here, and kind of like if actually let me mention another movie that's out right now. It Ends With Us. The kind of redeeming thing for that movie is, I don't think you've seen it, Mitch.
No, I will when it's out, I think.
Yeah, but this isn't necessarily a spoiler. Early on in the movie, we see these events happening between this couple, and the way it's filmed, it looks like an accident. The man gets burns his hand pulling food out of the oven, and flings it off, and she gets hit. But later, because the camera's moved somewhere else, we see that, oh no, that's him being abusive towards her. So in that same vein here, the way some of the, I guess, I don't know, traumatic stuff and what's really going on at this island is filmed, it's done great, really well done. Like, I do like this movie. So, I would like to talk about the ending. So maybe you want to do spoilers here. So I'll just wave my hand so I know when we go there. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into spoilers, but I just wanted to say I thought Channing Tatum did a really great job. He has one scene where he really has to stretch, and I thought he did it well.
Good point.
And Aaliyah Shawkat, who I love from Arrested Development, she's in this and she's great. She's like the one friend in the movie is kind of like, I don't think everything. There's something wrong here, and everybody else is like, oh, calm down. She's like the, what do you call him? Never mind.
She's great, and I know she was well known from a show, right?
Arrested Development, that's what I said.
Oh, you just said that. Yeah, she was Arrested Development. She was also in Green Room, which is amazing. She was in First Cow, which I thought was pretty boring. But she's been like a tertiary character in a lot of movies recently. She plays a great like sidekick friend.
I think the whole cast was great, and there was some people I'm like, why are you in this? But then later on, I was like, oh, like they all kind of get their little bit of time to shine.
Yeah, whether like Simon Rex and Haley Joel yeah.
Yes, and even Christian Slater gets his like funny moment near the end, and you're like, okay, and then obviously the lead actress was phenomenal. I think.
She's great here, and an interesting casting choice. She's relatively unknown. Black woman. I'm sure the studio or whoever could have said, no, let's put Margot Robbie or who was the girl in Ready or Not?
Oh, how dare you?
I know she looks like Margot Robbie.
Samara Weaving.
Like I'm sure there could have been other, or even or Sydney Sweeney. But that that adds another dynamic here, right? It's a black woman, white man, so there's more. That's thicker storytelling with undercurrents than if it were just a white lady, So interesting.
Do you know who Zoe Kravitz is engaged to?
I don't.
Channing Tatum.
No way.
I just found that out today, honestly.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
funny. That's really
I
funny.
had no clue.
Oh, no wonder they made this
Oh,
movie. And yeah, it's kind of
give it
like
a sec.
stuff like that. Relationships are sometimes how movies get made. Like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds being together. I'm sure that helps get movies made. So, damn, that's funny. All right, well then,
Yeah.
you want to just? I only have one thing really to say about
Okay.
into spoilers, but
Okay.
I want to hear more from you.
Okay. Are you hearing me right now? Because I think I
Yeah, you're
lost you
back. Yep.
first. Okay, cool. So we're getting into spoilers. Wave your hands. Basically the main thing I want to say is that transition. So of course, if you aren't going to see the movie and you want to
Yeah.
know
Just tell what happens. Yeah.
what happens, is basically at all these parties, these nights we've been seeing where they get drunk or black out or whatever, is they've been giving them stuff to knock them out.
Make them forget
And what's
memories.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make
and
them
then
forget memories.
right, and then they forget what happened that night. These four girls, and then you end up finding out that none of these girls really know the guys they're there
Right. They're
with,
all in the same position.
which I found really cool too, because like they hadn't asked each other that yet, and then they're like, and then it's like, well, wait, how? I thought you were like really dating
Good
like Simon
friends and
Rex.
dating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, no,
And
I
yeah,
just,
that was a good moment. You're right.
yeah,
Because,
and
we'll say like Frida, our main character here, she didn't want to say anything because she wants to fit in. She thinks
yes,
these other women that are there
right.
are wealthy and part of the clique, but it's like, no, they're also newcomers just like you.
And they do a good job of really giving that vibe, like we're party girls, like we know this and you don't, we're smarter than you, and you really find out it's like, oh no, it's, and but I found the stuff like uh, it's a little fantastical, but it worked for me, the whole Venom and the
Yeah,
perfume
that's the only
thing.
thing I was saying earlier about the plot stuff, like
Yeah,
the flower that causes the forgetful effects, and then the snake venom just happens to
yeah.
make them to reverse it. That was, but like I said, that's fine. That's movie magic.
There was a lot of Chekhov's guns in here,
Yes.
like the perfume. We kept seeing that. It's like, okay, well, that's going to mean something. His vape pen, we keep seeing
Yep.
that. Okay, that's going to mean something. And the flower. And then I think the biggest twist was the Red Rooster thing. And I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
I had to have a friend tell me that, like, it's because when she was there on the island before,
Oh,
she
right.
had,
That's right. She has been on the island before. That's right.
yes. But when she was there on the island before, she had red roosters on her nails.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yes.
So
Sorry,
that's
I
why
forgotten
that woman from the island kept calling her Red Rooster or something.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Yeah, so we later learned that she had been on the island previously, but her
Yeah.
memory of it had been wiped. So it's really nefarious because
Mhm.
when Channing and her have this quote meet cute at this gala, he knows
Oh.
exactly who she is and is trying to get her back to the island as if she thinks it's her first time. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cleverly written. And what I wanted to say about the ending is I really liked how it ends. So the movie ends with her as the CEO now of his big Slater King's big tech company. And it's implied that she's now drugging him to not remember or to take control of him, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like that. That was cool. Because like, in a happy ending, it would be like, oh, she gets the cops involved and they take him down, but it's like, no, now she's subjugating him. So that was kind of like a nice, fun twist.
It was.
Yeah.
And of course, I love my violence and my gore, and so watching these horrible men, meet their fate was just awesome.
Yeah, that was done well.
And so what I want to talk about is Gina Davis quickly.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was her.
Oh, you didn't, eh?
No, I think you reminded me or something. I'm like,
I mean, she's looking a bit older, but
she is. She definitely looks older, especially because I just watched Beetlejuice again.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's her,
with the long hair and
the very 90s like curly permed hair,
Yeah. So Gina Davis
she plays a housemaid, right?
Basically, she is.
I know what you're gonna say.
Kind of like his servant, almost like his his agent. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
His like agent, and she takes care of all the girls and gives them gift baskets, all this stuff. It's there's a whole tie in there, but Gina Davis in real life is like
Yes.
has a whole sexual assault thing. So she doesn't act very often anymore. So I can see why she took this movie.
Yes.
And then it was very interesting for her. I think she saw that role and she said like, wow, like that's how some women are, like, and so her end where she says like, I wanted to forget, like, or I don't know, it was interesting to
Yeah, no,
kind of
it is.
have that.
It's some nice meta commentary that in real life, Gina Davis, the actress, is actively working against, or actively working for women in the industry. And she is part of foundations and donates and spends her time and stuff. So
she barely
which
acts
I didn't.
anymore.
Yeah, she does rarely act. So it's amazing they were able to get her for a role where, of course, she is helping do these horrible things.
Yeah,
she's completely complicit.
Yeah, and I think she saw opportunity to play a woman who might be someone in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah, like kind of like a madam, like those women that would be ahead of, or like being part of like a madam.
Right.
Yeah, you know what a madam is.
Like almost like the opposite of a pimp, but like who like runs a big like operation or something.
Brothel, runs girls. Yeah, so you get that false sense of security because it's another woman and she's just as bad. Kind of like in Poor Things. Have you seen that yet? Or was it Kinds of Poor Things?
I haven't seen.
Poor Things, where Emma Stone goes to that brothel and the old lady there is the one that runs it. So, I love the ending. What?
That old lady is the lady in the front room that you're going to see this weekend. She's the old lady.
Ah, yes.
Catherine Hunter, I think her name is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is Catherine Hunter. Good call.
Yeah.
So I give this 3.5 stars. It's a good movie. It's recommendable.
Sorry, I keep talking over you. That's something I was saying that I need to stop. And I know we're at a little bit of a lag here. But yeah, I'm 4.5.
Great. I'm glad you liked it.
I really liked it. I think on a rewatch I could go down just because it's, I already know the twist, but there's also stuff I could pick up on, but some of that partying stuff just goes on too long. So I think on a rewatch I could be kind of like, okay, but I also like the vibe. I was feeling the movie and the, what's the other, like the, not vibe, but the mood and the, and everything. I was like, I'm into this. Like I just kept saying to my friend, I was like, I need a fucking vacation. This looks amazing.
Yeah, like it does. That island looks
until
insane.
It didn't, but
yeah, minus the assault.
Yeah, and the snakes that like
and the snakes. Yeah, and it's only 102 minutes, so that's 89. So it's an hour, a little like an hour and 42 minutes. So it's not that long, but yeah, the first act does take a little while, but it might be necessary because I'm not sure what all you could cut from that.
I kept thinking, like, okay, this feels too long, but once they get to that third act, it happens quick. Like, it's like boom, boom, like
it's moving.
Yeah, like at first I was like, oh, this is wow, I'm checking my watch, and then all of a sudden things started happening, and you're like at the end of the movie, and you're like, wow, okay, that's done. So
yeah.
Anyways.
All right, so do you want to move to Afraid? Do you want me to mention Reagan?
Yeah, mention Reagan quick, and I will...
Yeah, I'll just mention Reagan real quick. So Reagan is a docudrama, is what I think I would call it, or docudrama.
Biopic.
Yeah, biopic, kind of. Biopic, but
biopic
it's
is what you
out.
Use when it's not like when it's an actor is portraying it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't know what docudrama means. I'll look it up. You go.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere listed as. Oh, you know what? I think genre tab is here. What does it say? History drama. Okay. So just real quick. It's about the United States former President Ronald Reagan, and it's 2 hours and 21 minutes. And I worked it last Friday for CinemaScore, and the crowds that I talked to really loved it, and it got an A. I think it got an A+ CinemaScore. So people really love it, and just a regular A, not A+, but still an A is great. It mainly stars Dennis Quaid. There's a whole bunch of characters around that fill this cast because it's really looking at his whole political career and even some of his early acting career. And all I wanted to say about it was I thought this was very good. I enjoyed it. Dennis Quaid was good in it. I learned quite a bit that either I didn't know or I forgot from history class. And the only complaint or negative I have about it is It's just extremely laudatory towards him. And I would like to know, and I should read on my own, some criticisms. The Iran-Contra scandal was just barely touched on in this. And I'm sure there's some other things at the other side of the political aisle. Because whenever you look at anything political, right, you want to hear both sides. At least I do. Because, yeah, you want to get the real story. Try to get to
For sure.
truth. And this is more of a love letter, wish, we love you letter toward him. So it was lots of sweet. His wife, Nancy, is a big part of this. Nancy Reagan, of course, who started the war on drugs, which was has been a terrible failure. Obviously, people still do drugs. That didn't do anything.
Right.
But yeah, so it's, the crowds were definitely more conservative for sure. So I guess it's like for that audience, but I thought it was good and interesting. So I give it 3, like a 3 out of 5. It's totally recommendable.
Okay.
But to learn more about the president, and I kind of wish they would make one like this for like the last 10 presidents, just so I can learn more about history in this format instead of just reading a history book.
Exactly. So this will give us a good chance to just quickly talk about what Rotten Tomatoes has changed recently.
Good call.
They are now doing what they call the popcorn meter instead of calling them audience reviews. So whenever you went to Rotten Tomatoes, you would see the critics' reviews and the audience. Well, the audience is now called the popcorn meter, trying to like take away that negative connotation away from it, saying like, because this
and stopping review bombing.
Exactly. And like this one, I mean, we kind of got to say, I think was maybe the opposite of review bombed, because it's at a 98% for the audience and then a 21% for the critics.
Yeah.
But
this is actually,
yeah.
This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, deltas change between those two scores. So listeners, find me another movie that has a more number of change. So what's 98 minus 21? 70
something.
77 point score difference between critics and audiences. You just don't see that. Like most of the time critics and audiences don't agree, but it's usually not that great. So continue what you were saying about the popcorn meter.
Yeah, no, just that's the new thing. And so I think this is just kind of, this movie might have gotten the opposite of review bombed.
Or review bombed in a positive.
Right, exactly. Which has happened, and a lot of critics lean more left.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. The media,
it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, like not, it sucks because it's a little bit of a biased view when it comes to movies. But I think it seems like a lot of people had the same criticisms like you do, and it just bothered them more.
Yeah. I did see some. So one couple comes out of the movie. They look like, man, I don't want to stereotype on air while I'm being recorded, but they look like very goth / emo, as you would call, like back in high school. They're wearing like all black hair. One of them maybe was like biologically female but presenting as male, like that kind of thing. They came out first and they gave it F's or D's. And I didn't ask them, but I was thinking, why would you go see this?
Yeah.
And maybe
unless they're like us, big movie lovers, right?
I was gonna say maybe they're into it, and maybe they're like, let's see, because Dinesh D'Souza, he makes some crazy movies. I've gone to see those.
Yeah.
Because I want to see everything. Like, let me see all sides of the story. If it's a movie and someone puts that much work to get it into a theater, I want to see it. So so that was interesting. But yeah, so the audience score here loves it, and the popcorn meter. The thing to add for Rotten Tomatoes is you have to have bought a ticket through Fandango. So you can't just go on Rotten Tomatoes and make a review for that meter.
Oh, really?
Which is to help them combat the review bombing stuff.
Right. And then, so somebody who doesn't want to support the movie isn't gonna, you know what I mean? They're either
put their money
right. Right.
Yeah, which is good. Like, we need that. We've needed that forever. And they kind of did that. I remember them announcing this a few years ago. I can't remember, like 2 or 3 years ago, they were like, oh, well, now it's going to be verified audience members. And so I don't know what they changed, but
it just sucks because we can't, in Canada, we can't.
You can't use Fandango?
No, I don't think so.
That does suck. Although I will say, I don't think I've ever used Fandango I buy my tickets through Fandango all the time, but I never write reviews, right? I've always used Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Or my own Excel spreadsheet.
I always found the Rotten Tomatoes site too difficult to for me to continue going back to it and put my reviews in. It was no better than doing it on IMDb.
Yep.
You know, which is hard to kind of navigate sometimes. There's just so much going on those sites.
Yeah, and that's why Letterboxd, I think, has been such a big hit, because
exactly,
it's clean, it's neat, it's organized, and
it's so easy. Yeah,
it's just awesome. Letterboxd is just awesome. I went back and took all my Excel spreadsheet for movies and put them in here. I didn't add reviews, but I at least marked that I watched it. And I know you probably did. Every time you see a movie that you haven't marked as watched, you mark it as watched.
I do. And I did do the transfer from IMDb to Letterboxd.
Gotcha.
I found a site that did that for me because I had a few on Letterboxd. But
right.
So let's talk about Afraid. I'll set this one up here.
Set it up.
Afraid is a Blumhouse horror movie. It is stylized as AFR capital AID, right? Because it is all about AI. It was directed by Chris Weitz, who you'll know from American Pie, About a Boy, and then New Moon. He did, and then he did the Disney's 2015 live action adaptation of Cinderella, which is maybe the best thing he's done.
You know what? Actually, I want to argue with you there. He did. I just noticed this. He did a movie called Operation Finale, 2018.
Oh, okay.
Oscar Isaac, Ben Kingsley, and Nick Kroll. Really cool movie about a secret operation to rescue or execute a plan over in Iran.
Oh wow!
And that was really good. Nobody saw it, but I just saw it and I rated it 3.5. I remember liking it. But yeah, so that's director. What else?
So this stars John Cho, Catherine Waterston, Havana Rose Liu, David Dastmalchian, and Keith Carradine have some small roles in this as well.
Ricky Lindholm is in it.
Who's that? Oh yeah,
the comedian. She's in the opening scene.
She's in it very briefly, and So anyway, so this is a guy, John Cho's character. He works for this tech company. They have somebody
marketing, right?
Yeah, and they have somebody to come to them with this product, saying, "We want you guys to use this product and market it." And he agrees.
It's the next big thing in AI.
Yeah, it's like Alexa, but with AI times 100, right? It can do almost anything for you, and so he has to take it home to try it out. And her name is Aya, AIA.
Yeah,
and she. I think Dad's gonna start cutting the lawn, and I'll kill him. So he starts. They have this thing in their home because they want to, see if they like it before they advertise it or whatever. Anyways, and as you guess, things go wrong. They have 3 kids: Catherine Waterston and John Cho. They have a teenage daughter. They have a son who's maybe 12, I think, and then a 8-year-old. Which kind of worked because it's like they had. Sorry, can you hear that tractor?
Not really.
No, I think he's. I gave him the middle finger. Okay. Yeah. So
they have the 3
I think
kids.
it's really good because we get the AI situation from these different points of adulthood.
How the wife interacts. Yeah.
Yes, and the wife and everything. Because actually, John Cho interacts with it the least. It's the rest of his family that does.
Yeah, mom uses it for this. The teenage daughter uses it for this. Blah, down and down and down. So
none of them really think it'd be that great until they realize it's really helping them. And but then things turn sinister. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah,
of course.
As you would expect for a PG-13 horror movie.
So I'm going to start this off, I guess, and I'll just say,
go for it.
I gave this 2.5 stars,
okay.
which I walked out of this really not hating it.
Okay.
And I was because for me, I got about a little bit ways into this, and I was like, okay, well, this is just a drama. I was like, this is just a drama about the worries about AI or the dangers of AI. And I was like, this is, I found a lot of interest in those first 2 acts. Whereas people going in wanting a horror movie, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it.
No.
This is like, if we want to say this is a horror movie, it's a really, really bad movie. But I enjoyed it for some of its like other parts.
Yeah,
like
I kind of agree.
like the daughter has a storyline, which is kind of in the trailer, where she takes a nude and then it starts to spread, and then the AI helps her, and then the other kids kind of have like storylines like that where the AI is helping them and the parents don't know about it. And then the wife, her dad is dead, and he was like really inspirational in her writing, so she hasn't been writing because her dad is dead, and so she helps him in a way. I don't know, I just found it intriguing to the point where I was enjoying myself enough. That last act is what made it go down to 2.5 stars, because there was nothing scary. There was like, it was just dumb. I did like the very end, like how it ended.
Yeah.
Like, if you know what I mean, they all get into something, but
they get in the car and ride off in the sunset. The survivors get into the car. I won't say who.
Yes, yeah. Anyways, so you tell me. I know I'm very alone on this, but didn't hate it.
I mostly agree with you. I'm like halfway through this, I'm like, all right, this isn't too bad. Some of these ideas here are kind of fun, and yes, we've seen this explored in other stuff. But John Cho and Catherine Waterston are both capable actors, especially Catherine Waterston here. She's pretty good. I mean, she's got to go through all range of emotions. But this, the storyline is just like computers bad, AI bad. Like, we've seen done so many ways recently, that there's nothing really new here. There's a couple jump scares. It's PG-13, so it's a little lame, and it's something that stood out to me. I wonder if you noticed this, Mitch. So there's a scene where a husband and wife are like, "Oh, we got a few minutes without the kids. Let's go upstairs and have sex." And we see them like go down on the bed, and then we cut away and we come back. They're in bed still, but their shirts and tops are all on. Like, I was like, what? So they had sex with their clothes on? Like, it's just a silly thing. I'm like, at least have John Cho take his shirt off for the next scene. So that was really, that was just something that stood out. I thought the design of the AI computer in the building was kind of cool looking with all the tubes and wires. Like, that's something, that's someone had to build that. And I thought it looked cool. I build computers. I build my own computer. So, of course, that's not what a computer looks like, but it was a cool design. The middle child, the teenage, like the one who's like 12 in like middle school, he was a really bad actor. There's some takes with him at a picnic table where some friends are bullying him that it was just bad. I'm like, oh, this poor kid. He's just really, really bad. The computer, at some point, a computer gets beat up and smashed like with a baseball bat, and it bleeds like ooze. It like oozes blood on the floor. I'm like, what the hell is this?
And it's like purple ooze.
Yeah, it's like purple blood.
Power Rangers.
But so this, like, I have no problem with people that hate this and think it's the dumbest movie they've ever seen. I will go along with that. And then I also don't have a problem with you giving it 2.5 stars, saying that it's just totally fine. To me, this is a fun watch with a friend or two while you've got your drinking and just to point and laugh at stuff. So in that sense, like, it's still enjoyable because some of it's really silly.
I think, and I'm going to kind of rebuff what you said there. Like, I wouldn't think it'd be that. I don't think it would be silly enough to sit and watch with friends.
No? Okay.
I think
do.
if, like, you're in a relationship and you hear us talking and, like, you think of it as, like, you're going in and it's, like, not going to be a horror, like, that's scary, I think you'd enjoy it more. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, I want to add on to what you say. There are kernels of good things here. So let's talk a little bit more about the way the AI starts to help. So the AI, so mom has some feelings of, she feels like she's being left out and she's been relegated to just being, quote, mom, whereas she wants to study for her master's. We get lots of fleshing out of these characters. And so the AI helps her start to rewrite her thesis because she's working on her master's or her doctorate. And she hasn't been able to because she's taking care of 3 kids, right? And then, like you said, the 17-year-old or 18 17-year-old teenage daughter, she takes a nude of herself and then the boyfriend spreads it around school. The AI helps her get revenge, get that
I think
reported.
that storyline was the most tense and interesting and everything.
And they could have built it around that.
Almost. I think they could have but we've gotten kind of movies like that with like Host and another one.
And
but
another movie just like this is Megan that we just got.
I was saying to my friends, I was like, this is fine, but I'd rather go watch Megan.
Definitely,
again.
Right? Megan is just way more fun.
Because all this is basically like an Alexa that sits on your counter. It can't move.
Right.
So there was
But it infiltrates your other devices.
It's just, and then there's a reveal as to like at the end about what might be happening and like there's like an RV, which that whole
thing should have been cut out.
That was so dumb.
Yeah,
but they put it in there because it's like the only scary part.
Scary thing, yes.
And it was like, it felt like The Purge. Like it felt like a little bit of like, with the stupid masks that looked horrible. And I'm like, so I'm saying half of this movie is bad, but there's just it got me thinking enough and interested enough for that first half. So
I agree. And so mine is a full star below you, 1.5. But
that's fine.
This comes, what we've just talked about, I think tells us if they had rewritten the script, if the script could have gone rewritten, got some notes, this could have been made to something better. And yeah, you're right. Maybe not even marketed as horror, more like thriller drama.
Yeah, with maybe a little horror element, obviously, because things like the part with, I think the scariest part for me was there's a part with the girl and her boyfriend, kind of maybe what happens with him. That was maybe that was maybe the most like interesting and like kind of was like, ooh, that's creepy. But,
Yep. And and then another piece that fails here is, like you said, the RV piece, and then the motivation for the AI. Why does the AI care about what it's doing? And then the people that make the AI, the voice of it, that one girl, she's been in who was she?
She wasn't in Ex Machina, was she?
No, but she looks just like her.
I'll find it.
Yeah, find her, please, because I want to see
what I want to ask you as soon as we figure out who this girl is. Mayday, the chair, no exit.
Havana Rose Liu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bottoms. Oh, she was the hot girl in Bottoms that the lesbian wanted to get with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was a really pretty girl.
You have a better eye for faces than I do. I didn't know that.
I guess so.
Yeah. But what I wanted to ask you is,
her motivation with the whole cheating thing was weird.
It was all so dumb, and and that whole thing near the end kind of comes out of nowhere, where all of a sudden these people have these things they have to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And I don't know, but I was just gonna say, I don't understand what the AI really did that made her so bad. Obviously she went a little too far with some things.
I lost you for a second. So you're not sure what the AI did that made her so...
I just don't understand that.
Interested
to me, she didn't really...
Pursuing John Cho?
I don't know. She didn't really do anything. For you to come back. Could you hear me talking?
Yeah, you're back now. So you said you were... Where I lost you was you didn't know what the AI did to that girl to make her so involved?
Not that. I just, overall, I don't really see, they didn't, okay, here it is. They didn't make her seem evil enough.
Yeah.
Aya did,
yeah.
She wasn't, the villain they should have, exactly.
What wrong did the AI do? Yeah, it really doesn't.
Maybe she went a little too far with some things, but, overall, I'm, watching this and I'm saying, okay, maybe she's a little creepy, but I'd put her in my house. She seems fucking really helpful to me.
Yeah, with food, nutrition, reading the kid's story, letting the kid have 5 more minutes of gaming, doing the bills, calling the hospital. Yeah, it seems useful. And then if a company is selling this device, what benefit do they have of making it crazy? And
Well, I think it was like an Ultron thing, right? Where
Where
it
it
kind of
became
did that.
self-aware. Yeah.
Yeah, it does that kind of on its own. But
So yeah, so that's Afraid. I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised this did go to theaters. I could totally see this being on Shudder, Tubi, um,
well,
Paramount Plus, Peacock. Like,
but
you know,
Blumhouse has a good history until like this last year, where
yeah,
they've really just like scraping the bottom of the barrel with these scripts, like and they did so
yeah,
well with
and
Megan, and
yep,
it's like I think they were like, "Yep, we need another AI script, perfect."
right. Or they had one. They had this one in progress, and as
Right.
soon as Megan was a hit, they're like, let's move this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this in week one, over 4 days of the long weekend, debuted at number 9, making 4.4 million. So I'm not really sure of the budget, but it will be on Netflix soon because this is a Sony picture, and Sony's go directly to Netflix. They don't go anywhere else.
$12 million budget. So, and
Oh,
it's
so
made
it might
7.2 worldwide.
so it might
So
might make its money back. Yeah. All right. Well,
I
let's
think
move.
even Night Swim made like
Yeah.
broke even, which was
Night
just a
Swim.
terrible movie. So Blumhouse
Yeah.
needs to do some work.
Oh man. Yeah.
But yeah.
So, just before we wrap up, I want to tell you about a movie called The Wasp. It's in limited theaters right now. Let me see if it's even listed on the weekend list here to see how many it's in. No, I can't find it. So, for me, it was around like 3 theaters out of maybe the 15 here in the Atlanta area or something. But what I want to tell you about it is it's got Naomi Harris, which you guys would recognize for sure from the James Bond movie Skyfall and No Time to Die. She's the mom in Moonlight. She was in Miami
28
Vice.
Days Later was kind of like her breakout.
Yeah, she was the black woman in 28 Days Later. She was in that dumb movie Rampage with The Rock.
And then Natalie Dormer, who everyone knows as Lady Marjorie from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. So this is a two-hander. It's those two women, and this to me is like a 4.5 star movie. I absolutely loved it. I could see this being a staged movie, and I should have looked it up on Wikipedia. I wonder if it was a play or is going to be a play because it all takes place mostly in one room. And I'm not going to go too far into it because I want people to see it, and maybe once you see it, we can talk about it. The director did a movie with Anya Taylor-Joy in 2017, which I haven't seen. A movie called Julia's Eyes, which I also haven't seen. It's a guy named Guillem Morales. But this is the plot synopsis. Heather bumps into Carla, having not spoken to her in years, and presents her with an unexpected proposition that could change both their lives forever. So Naomi Harris lives this idyllic life with her rich husband, who she is certain he's cheating on her. You see this in the first few minutes. The movie opens with Naomi Harris crying in the park. So she wants to concoct and put a plan together to get back at him in some way. It's set over in England somewhere, and she remembers Natalie Dormer's character from high school. They were best friends at one point, and then Natalie Dormer was a total bitch to her and was a bully. And so Naomi Harris has been using Facebook to kind of stalk her and see, oh, she's got 4, almost 5 kids. She works as a cashier. She needs money, so let me pay her, since I know she's down for it probably, to get this revenge I'm asking for on my husband. So she comes over to the house to start putting a plan together. And as they start planning, they start drudging up old memories of what the bullying used to entail and what they're going to do for this revenge. And it kind of gives a twist from there. And so I just thought it was fantastically acted, just so well. These two women yelling at each other, crying, struggling. The pauses, like when you're crying and you're trying to talk, you'll be saying like, "Oh, I hate you so much," and you and you like purse your lips, and like you stop to breathe out your nose. Naomi Harris, especially in this, does it so well. So I loved it. I love this movie. I want people to see it. It's called The Wasp. It'll probably be streaming sometime soon, and when it comes out, I'll remind you, Mitch, because I think you dig it. And it's only 90 minutes, 96 minutes.
Oh, awesome. It was based on a play, a 2015 play by Morgan Lloyd Malcolm, and she wrote the original play and she wrote the screenplay.
Cool. Yeah, this is just like like a really cool script, like very tight, and things that you see or mentioned earlier come back. And I love when stuff is, set up and payoffs. It's very satisfying. So
that's awesome.
So that's the Wasp. So then let's talk about coming up, I guess.
Yeah, so we got Beetlejuice this weekend, which I am looking forward to. I really like that Catherine O'Hara is going to be in it. I love her. And I really, Jenna Ortega is obviously a perfect pick for this. I mean, she's already Wednesday. She's been in like 2 Scream movies. And did
you see what she said about being asked about Edward Scissorhands?
No.
So someone asked her recently during this press tour, would you want to do the Edward Scissorhands, right? Because she could play the girl in that movie.
Yeah. Who was Winona Ryder?
Oh, right. She could play Winona Ryder. Yes. Yeah. Because she just has that look to her, right?
I know.
With Wednesday and Addams Family, and she said something kind of cool. She said she was like, yeah, that would be cool. Although she was like, I really want, instead of them just gender bending, which I think we've said this before, just make up a cool new idea for a woman to do, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's kind of like what everyone says. It's like, don't just change the gender of the new Skywalker. Make them a whole new story. So she said the same thing. She's like, I don't need to be the girl version of Edward Scissorhands. How about just make a cool movie? So I thought that was a cool quote by her. She says a lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, so Beetlejuice, and then that horror movie, The Front Room. And then there's do you know about this? The Abraham Lincoln gay movie?
Oh, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this because there's always been the joke that he was gay and Mary Todd was, but yeah. So
that is going to be, I might try and get Florence to see that instead of The Front Room, but maybe not. But anyway, that looks like it's only going to be in one theater near me. And it is called, let me see, I have it right here. Lover of Men, The Untold History of Abraham Lincoln. I'm just so curious. What?
I've seen the poster everywhere. And it's a documentary?
I guess so. Oh, it is a doc. Okay, yeah.
I think you're probably better to get Florence to see The Front Room.
Yeah, as told
I don't
by
know how much
preeminent Lincoln scholars and never before seen photographs and letters. The film details his romantic relationships with other men. This will be interesting.
I will watch it when it comes out for sure. It's going to be, scandalous among some people, but it's always been a rumor, right?
People will hate that.
Yeah.
So that's like the 3 biggies. So Beetlejuice, Lover of Men, and The Front Room, and we will be back to talk about those.
And like you said, there's 2 movies on VOD right now. Cuckoo, you can and what was the other one? Skincare and
Skincare and Dee
Dee and those are all 3 movies that Ant has seen and will recommend, which we might talk about in the next week or so because I'm going to rent them and watch them.
Yeah, check out. You should at least one of those. I would say at least Cuckoo. I love to talk about on here with you.
Stories, and that's Dee, so I'm gonna do that too. So
yeah, good call. I'm glad you mentioned those. Cuckoo, Dee, and Skincare are all 3 movies that I liked and that are available either on Plex or available to stream somewhere.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thanks you for putting up with the technical difficulties. I will be back in my regular studio next time, I guess, where it won't be like this. So,
cool.
All right. See you later.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you for listening to the Hollywood Persona podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Hollywood Persona. Feel free to email the show at thehollywoodpersona@gmail.com and make sure to rate, share, and follow on whatever platform you're listening to our show on. It's the little things that help. Thank you.
And you little shithead. You're staying here.
And